Hey everyone, in this video we are going to take a look at people picker control from the PnP.js. So there are two types. So first one is SPFx control that we can use in SPFx applications directly, like in terms of form fields we have. Second one is property pane control. So both these things we are going to see. Main part is how and what kind of data it returns, then how we can use that data to manipulate certain things, and then how to do certain operations that we are going to see. So I have created a SPFX project. So this is a very simple project and that has just a people picker control, and I took one field in property pane as well. So first we are going to take a look at SPFX control. So let's dive into documentation first to understand what it is. In order to install the SPFX controls, you have to go to this website and here you have to run this command. After you run this, you have to check as well what are the configurations are required and what versions you are using, right? If you are using lower version, then there might be some dependency that need to install. But as I'm using the latest version, so I just have to run this command only. After that, you go to controls and here you have to search for the people picker. I will give a direct link in the description as well. But here, there are lots of control, but our focus for this video will be on the people picker only. So it says that the people picker, as the name suggests, it will let us pick the multiple users or a single user. Now, when I say user, it is not restricting us to select a person only. It is also allowing us to select Microsoft 365 groups, distribution list, SharePoint permission group, and the security group. So here, this is the UI that we get as you see in this project as well. I have this field. Then how to use this control. Now let's go into the VS Codes setup that I have. Now this is the code. I will share this code on the GitHub repo as well. So let's first understand what's going on here. So first we have to import this control. So as you see here, I have imported that in my main TypeScript file. So this is the main root file of the project. Then second thing is we have to use this people picker context. So this is a React functional component. So here as you can see, I have copied and pasted it directly here. So this is required for the people picker control. In older version, it is not required, but yes, in newer version, these things are required. Now this is the main control. So you had to just copy this and paste it like here. Now let's understand what are the things going on here. So first is context. So people picker context. So this is the same context that we have just copied here. It has absolute URL, MS graph thing, and HTTP client. Then we have the title. So whatever title you would like to give to that control. Person selection limit. That means how many persons or users you can select here. So currently it is 3, but I can 2 to 9. Group name. Now this is something, if you would like to return a people from a specific group, you can name that group here. But if you leave it as blank, then it will return the data like users, group, everything. Then whether it's a required or not, search text limit. Now this is something important. So when you type something in the people picker control, so let's say I have a person. So as you can see, when I type 4 or 5 words, then it returns me. Now search text means that means after how many letters you have to return the result. So currently by default it is 3, but you can increase it. So I think best is to keep it 3 only. Now there is a on change property as well. Now this is the default function they have also provided in the documentation. If you go here, so it just has the function and the items as a parameter, and it will return the item. So in case of multiple selection, it will return array of object. Now principal types. Now if you want your people picker to return only the users, so what you can do, you can just keep the users only. And similarly like this, if you would like to return only specific kind of principles, then you can have that here. But what I want is return everything, whether it's a user, SharePoint group, security, or distribution list. Now result delay, that means when you type something, then how many times it will require to return the result. So by default it's a 1000, that is in ms, so it's a 1 second. So I'm good with these things. Now there are lots of options here. So if you go to website and if you go down, then there are lots of properties you can see. If there is some property that I have not defined but it is something useful to you, you can read it and use it. And they have also mentioned that which fields are required and what is the description of that and what is the default value of it. So after that, let's take an action. So here I will select this user. So it returns me ID, name and email. Now I will open a console as well so you can see the result. Now this is my result. I'll just hide up warnings. Now as you can see, the items return the array of 1. So it is only one user. I will select another user. Then I will select one SharePoint permission group. So my current site is SPFx. So I will select the members group. Then I will select one more, but it is not allowing me to because here I selected 9. So I need to save this. So I will select first is user. Second one is the SharePoint group of the current site. Then Microsoft 365 group and one security group. So now I am returning the response in these cards. So as you can see in the schema, every card has some different things. So for the person kind of thing, they have the ID in this format, the claims format we can say. Then we have the email and the name. For the SharePoint group, it is not returning any email address, right? Because SharePoint group doesn't have any email ID, but they have the ID in the number format and the name and the email. For the M365 group, it returns ID in this format and it has an email like this. So for this security group, also the ID, as you can see, this convention is different. So it says tenant here, but for the M365, it says federated directory claim provider. And also it doesn't have an email, it is just have the ID. So now what I did is console.log statement is also here. I will just show you one by one. So this data I'm getting from here. So it returns the ID, image initials, image URL, and other things. What you can do is the best practice is to create a TypeScript interface. So in my React project, what I did, I go to interface. Here I created interface out of those response. So all these fields are not required. As you can see in the response, there are some things are blank. So let's say this is the field is blank, the optional text is blank, right? So you have to make that interface accordingly. Now how will you use that? As you can see, it is saying the ID 5, then ID for the individual users. Now imagine if you are doing the CRUD operation and you know when using people picker control or the people picker column in the SharePoint list, you have to pass the user ID. But here, as you see, we get an email. We don't get any number, numeric ID, right? So there is one thing that we need to just modify in the people picker control, that property called as ensure user. So as you can see, when ensure user property is true, it will return the local user ID on the current site when doing a tenant wide search. Because as you already know, in the SharePoint site, there is a local user ID as well. So the current SharePoint site, I may have an ID, some let's say 10, but the other site, I will have a different ID. Now, when I select ensure user true, let me just save this and let's see what's things going to change here. Now, I will search the username directly here. So as you can see, it is not returning me claims format, it is returning me numeric format. Now I can easily use this ID to pass to the SharePoint. There is also one property, the default selected users. If I go to project and if I say default selected users, here you need to pass the array of object, sorry, a string of array you need to pass, and the email ID you will get. Now currently what I will do, I'm not storing this response anywhere and I'm not saving this from the list. So I'll just show you by taking this person ID. So I'll copy this email ID and paste it here. Now once I save this, by default, that person will be selected here. As you can see, when I selected that person, also you can have multiple IDs associated. You can just write a comma, you can add another email ID, that will work. This is how this SPFx control is working. Now the second thing is property pane control. So for the property pane control, there is a different library. So not the same one. As you can see, this is the PnP SPFx controls and this is PnP SPFx property controls. This also you need to go to home. Then here we have the import. You just have to copy it and run that command in your current project file and it will install this. Then you have to go to controls. There are lots of property pane control, but we will focus on the people picker only. If you select this, and as you can see, like what kind of user interface you got here. So first let me just show you how that will look like. If I go to edit, select the web part and go to its property pane, as you can see there is a one field with a input control where I can select the people. Now let's see how import will work. So first thing, you have to create the property in the TypeScript file, right? So if I go to my TypeScript file here, I have imported that one, people picker property control. Second thing you need to do is go to the webpart.ts file and here also you need to define that property. Third thing, you need to define that here as well, like generally we do when we take any property pane controls. So after these things, you have to go to bottom and you don't have to write this manually. You can just copy everything from here and just paste it. And here also there are some properties. Generally what property pane has is labels, then initial data, allow duplicate and principal type. So the principal type is same as we saw in the SPFX control, to let users allow to select only users, SharePoint group or security group. I think there is also one, let me check if you have the distribution list as well. Okay, this doesn't have a distribution list, it has only 3 types. All these functions are by default, we don't have to write anything manually. And I'll just save this. Now what I did to distribute and to show them in a group, I'd taken the 4 things, the individual users, SharePoint, security and M365 groups. Now when I add anything, it will fall under each category so that it will helps you to understand what things. Yeah. So let me just select user directly. So I will select 2 users. Then I will select the SharePoint group. I will select 2 SharePoint groups, let's say SPFX members and SPFX owners. Then I will select one security group and then M365 group. Now when I select apply, see what things are going on here. For the individual users, they will have these details. So almost we can say identical, but yes, those are not the same. So it has also login name, then email ID, the name and the ID. So ID is in the claims format. For the SharePoint group, as you can see, the ID is in numeric format and they don't have any email ID. For the security group, they have the ID like this one, like they have the tenant here. They don't have any email address. So just to inform you, like when we want to receive any detail about this, we have to call a graph API using this ID. But that's not the agenda for this video, just sharing you the information. For the M365 group, obviously we will have the email ID associated, and they have the ID like this one and the name like this. I'll just republish this. So now let me just tell you, like you all know how individual users and SharePoint groups are created. For security and M365 group, I will just share you. You have to go to the admin center. You must have the admin permission to access this. Under M365 admin center, we have teams and groups, and here we have the active teams and group. There are three types: M365, distribution, and security. So I have created one M365 group for testing, as you can see here, this one. Then second one is distribution list. I think I don't have anyone. Okay, I have one internet distribution list. Okay, let me just search in the people picker if we got that intranet distribution list. Not sure why it's not happening. Okay, ignore this. Then we have the security group, SEC IT admins, and that security group is here. Let me just edit this and let's check whether that distribution group is appearing. Let me just copy the name directly. Okay, it's not appearing. And here also we'll see. Okay, it's not appearing here as well. Okay, no issues. We can figure out later. That's not a concerning thing for now. So this is how these two controls are different from each other. So when using the SPFx control fields, majorly this one will use from the basically for the forms. When we have the CRUD operation, we have to add entry in database, anything like that, we have to use this one. And the property pane control, like we can see, if you have any action buttons, whether you would like to show to certain users only, so you can use these fields in a property pane, and the members of that group only allowed to do certain operations. So this kind of data we got here. Now let's go to the code and understand what things are going on. So basically it's a simple, I think only 140 lines of code. So the import statement are like this. Now when I did this to group them accordingly, so I just use the some kind of convention. So as you can see, for the SharePoint group, we have the ID is a number. For the people, we have the ID as a string. So that kind of logic I have used. Like SharePoint group is number. Then if it is individual, then their email ID will start from this. Then if it's a security group, it will start from this. And if it's a M365 group, it will start from this. Now all these things are here. So as you see, security group, it start from this one. And for the M65, it starts with this. So this kind of logic just I have added to group them so that I can show you in a better format, like how each of these result is different from each other. Now I have just used the sample HTML to show the persona, and whatever the results we are getting, like ID, full name, email, and login name, I am showing it here. And this is our main statement. Here I have just used the functions. As you can see, these are the function that I have listed here. Then this is the function get people picker item. So when I search in the SPFx control, so this is the exact same function that I copied from the website, and I am maintaining one state also. So in that state I am showing that result. And this is the render section. If it's no item found, it will say no items found. So this is a really common thing. Then I have to people picker control here, and then whatever this section I am using, I am showing it here. So as you can see, these labels 1 2 3, So I defined it here, and whatever the selection we do in the people picker, it will filter them and put them in a relative group only. Okay, this is how I would like to show you how this control and how you can use it in your project. If you don't have any questions, you can let me know in comments, and I'll put a GitHub repo and all the relevant documentation link in the description as well, so you can follow along with me while watching the video.